What's cracking, everybody? You're back with Mr. Berger. Tonight we're going to be taking a look at this handcrafted Mr. Berger made Balloon Cycle Lumberjack deck. So it's a really interesting combination. It's something that I was messing around with for a while, and I'm just going to be straightforward, guys. It's not the best deck right now in the current state of the meta. Balloon Cycle's not in the best place, so I was just kind of having some fun. I wanted to switch it up a little bit, and I found this deck. It works decently well. It's taken me some getting used to. You know, it's not super meta, so don't expect to do super well with it. It took me a few tries just to get a few wins, but either way, it does have the potential to do really well, and it's a lot of fun to play. You have some really cool synergy, and you know, just it's nice to switch it up from time to time and just play something different rather than just playing the same three. You know, playing Three Musketeers or playing P.E.K.K.A. Control, or you know, playing Golem Beatdown or whatever else is super popular right now, because there's just kind of a few meta decks that are all over the place right now, and that's mostly all that you see. So anyway, this deck, the idea that I had behind it was to pair the Lumberjack and the Balloon. At first I was messing around with like just Balloon and Rage because it's really cheap, and I went like for a real cheap cycle deck. You know, I had that Ice Golem in there and that Miner in there to kind of play that mini tank role, but it just wasn't working out too well. So I switched it up a little bit, gave it a little bit more power, decided to not make it super cheap and actually put a medium spell in there rather than just having one light spell, and you know, no tornado or anything like that, nothing right in the middle there, but I do have that fireball in there now as well. So this worked out pretty well for me, this particular set of cards, and again, it's a lot of fun to play. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be trying to, you know, play defense when necessary, but for the most part you're mostly going to be going on offense, honestly, and that's what I found is key to winning with this kind of deck. You have so much offensive potential, so you really want to, you know, gain the benefit of being able to punish them. When they slip up or when they're putting down a lot of elixir in one lane, go for a big heavy counter push in the opposite lane, and it can often pay off. You know, for example, of course, if they put a Golem in one lane, you can go for like the Balloon Lumberjack in the opposite lane, or a Balloon with an Ice Golem right in front of it. That's an amazing combo, and it'll definitely pay off. So consider it kind of like a punish deck, which isn't, again, not too popular right now, but it does have the potential if played well. And another thing, if you don't manage to even connect with the Balloon, the death damage from the Balloon right now is pretty decent. So even if you can just chip away with that, that's pretty solid. So keep that in mind when you're playing this deck. You can definitely use the Balloon's death damage to provide you a relatively consistent amount of chip damage on the tower. But what's really cool about this deck is you have that Lumberjack with the Balloon. So as I mentioned, I was playing with Rage earlier, and it just wasn't quite working out for me, but you know, when the Lumberjack dies, of course, he drops that Rage effect. So you kind of want to gain, you know, the use of that, or gain the benefit again of that Rage effect. You know, take advantage of it, of having it in your deck, and you know, send your Balloon in like with the Lumberjack or after the Lumberjack has died, so it can gain that benefit of the Rage effect. And that was a terrible fireball there. You can see somebody's probably going to point that out in the comments that I misplayed there. Fireball, you know, put the timestamp on it at like, you know, about 3.5 minutes or whatever. But either way, what happened there was I misplaced it. I meant to put it up a little bit higher and hit those two Ice Wizards. It didn't quite work out. But even though I slipped up, that almost cost me the game there. And you can see I was kind of looking like, oh man, I'm going to lose this one for sure. And kind of running out of options, and I almost gave up. But I'm like, okay, let's go for it. Let's go for a big push here, and let's see if I can, you know, pull it together. And he uses the lightning, and it leaves my tower at 2 health, which is super close. Good for me. He didn't do the math, and he sends in the Goblin Barrel, but my Balloon and my Fireball are able to take that tower out before he can actually connect with the Goblin Barrel before they do any damage. And that is that. Alright guys, let's go ahead and hop into one more replay. Now, as you can see, this is going to be a relatively short video because I only had like these 2 replays that I wanted to share with you. But either way, in this second one, let's see how things go. He plays a kind of funky deck. Let's see what he's running here. He's got the Lumberjack, he's got an X-Bow, all kinds of crazy stuff. So, you know, not necessarily the most meta or powerful deck, but I'm not playing the best deck right now anyway. So, again guys, the idea behind this deck is it's kind of a Balloon Cycle deck. So you're cycling back to that win condition, you're being kind of aggressive with it, you're going for, you know, punish pushes, you know, pushing the opposite lane, you know, taking advantage of when they invest a lot of elixirs. So as you can see there, he had the Baby Dragon and the Cannon Cart, each hitting each of my towers, and so I decided just to go hard on the left with the Miner, the Balloon, and the Lumberjack, And he uses something to try to defend against the Lumberjack, but the Lumberjack actually just, you know, wrecks that tower there. And you can see that the Lumberjack and the Balloon go in for the tower, the King Tower there, get it down to about half health, and the death damage is like almost 300 damage there from the Balloon, so it's pretty significant. So you're cycling back to that Balloon win condition, you're being aggressive, you've got that Lumberjack in there for an aggressive push, some serious damage, as well as that rage effect, and you're generally sending in your Balloon with a Miner or an Ice Golem tanking for it. You can put the Balloon down and send the Miner in right after, and he'll get there to the tower first, or put the Ice Golem down and then send the Balloon in. Either way works just fine. But again, Miner plus the chip damage from that Balloon's death damage there was enough to finish off that tower. Alright guys, that is it for this quick little video on this fun Balloon Cycle deck that I just whipped up really quickly earlier today. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, because that helps the channel grow. Leave a comment in the comment section below. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure to do so, because I cover all kinds of fun decks like this, meta, off meta, you know, challenges, balance changes, all kinds of cool stuff like that. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and have a good night.